Alright guys, today we are gonna be reacting to I Hate My Ex-Husband because he married his true love and at 41 I can't find a partner. Let's jump in, guys. Ugh, already. Oh, that was rough. Out of the bat, rough.
Welcome, brothers. In today's video, we're going to talk about marriage, divorce, and the ex-wife who wants to make your life impossible. But before we continue, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment. Brothers, we're now on TikTok, so feel free to check us out there. Without
Like and
further
subscribe,
ado,
guys.
let's get started.
Can we normalize wanting to break up with your partner in a long-term relationship? Roko's obviously bae. We've been together for over 6 years. Look at those little babies. Which means we've been through a lot of ups and downs. And we actually had a point about 2 years in where we were going through this really rocky period that I did not know if we were going to make it through. One of my good friends is a marriage and family therapist, and she introduced me to this concept of the 5 relationship stages that every couple goes through. And let me tell you, it changed my perspective on relationships. So first we've got the honeymoon phase. This usually lasts about the first 6 months, and this shit is euphoric. Like literally your brain releases a chemical compound with dopamine and oxytocin and endorphins and makes you
Oh
feel
my God.
euphoria. It's addicting. This, unfortunately, can also make it easy to overlook red flags in a partner. Between about 6 months to that 2-year mark, we move on to the differences phase, which is where some of that euphoria starts to wear off. Conflict starts to emerge. You start to see your partner as a real person, and people have flaws, and it's tempting at this point to withdraw or fight about things. The third stage, the struggle, is really where I think Roko and I ran into issues. This happens at about the 2-year relationship mark. This is where deeper seated issues and incompatibilities arise, and it's centered around this idea of like the partnership starting to pull apart, partners becoming...
Yo, 2 years, man. These females are broken already, guys. Females are broken. This should not be a problem, guys. This should not be happening. If you set up the frame for the beginning, this should not be happening. Your female should not be fighting for every... This is nagging. This is the struggle. It's basically nagging.
Resentful of each other for taking away their individuality and wanting to invest more time outside of the partnership rather than into it. And this is a common breakup point for couples, but you can get through it with communication,
Crazy,
with
man.
intentional conflict resolution, and with like really intentionally showing affection. And then comes the repair stage. This usually evolves between that 2 to 5 year mark and is the decision point that couples have to come to after going through all that struggle. You know, they probably feel drained and resentful about the relationship and need to commit to each other. If they want to continue onwards, they both have to put in the effort to grow individually and grow together. And my favorite stage is enduring love. This commonly kicks in at about 5 years. I mean, it's really kind of marks the breakthrough of the repair stage. At this point, you've really chosen each other. You've grown together, you've learned how to communicate, and you get this,
Wow, this is so
strong
wrong.
sense of support from your partner to support you in your individuality.
Yeah, this is so wrong in so many ways. This is basically her cop-up of why she doesn't want to submit to her husband or partner, whatever. The preferences stage is basically she's nagging, and he's not okay with her nagging, and she's nagging back. I mean, why you not closing the toilet seat? Why you not putting the socks where you belong? You don't understand me. She started just being toxic, and guys, do you know how you fix this stuff? You present your preferences in stage 1. I'm a Republican, a conservative. I like Trump. I like women. They want like to cook right in the first date, bro. No, not too obvious, right? But it's almost like when you guys talking, you guys like each other. You know this is coming to a good relationship. You throw this stuff right there, and it's second or third date. This is who I am. That's it. And she say yes. She's already in your frame. That's it. You don't have to go through all this stage stuff. Guys, it's all about frame. These preferences and struggle is the guy just not looking. She is not in his frame. And what do they do? They do shit like this. And this is her. All this stuff is just her not taking accountability of her, or her not being able to submit. Oh, bullshit, man.
Almost in a way re-enter the honeymoon phase. You start to play together again, and it really feels like falling in love again.
Uh-huh.
Do you know why?
Uh-huh. Yeah, good luck with that. Dave, you listen to the PJ masculinity, you need to do some work on yourself, man, because you allow this female to just even put a TikTok video about this. That means that you're not you're not in frame.
To save her marriage now that her ex-husband is happily remarried. The 41-year-old woman shared to the True Off My Chest subreddit that she left her husband around 10 years ago, shortly after they'd had their first child together. According to this woman, there were no major issues in the marriage. She was a stay-at-home mom and had her husband wrapped around her finger. He did whatever she said, and she burnt him out. When he grew tired of her demands, she started threatening divorce.
Damn.
She thought she was still a great catch and that she could do better than her husband, so she left. She ended up getting joint custody of her son and the house after the divorce. Now, 10 years later, the ex-husband is happily remarried with a baby daughter and a new house. The divorced woman, on the other hand, has been unmarried ever since. She's jealous of her ex-husband's new wife, saying, "She took my husband, she took my kid, she took my life that was once mine, and now I live in an empty house." She claims she is alone and miserable and wishes she would have been a better wife 10 years ago so she wouldn't be in this situation. As you can probably imagine, not many people were very sympathetic towards this woman. "You got what you deserved and he got what he deserved," one Redditor commented. Others noted that the new wife didn't take anything from her, with one saying, "You gave it away." This woman's story may end in bitterness and guilt, but that's not the case for most divorcees. According to research derived from family law attorneys, 80% of divorcees end up remarried. While
Yeah, and how many times? And what's the level of getting divorced after that? Goes, guys. It almost goes to 70%. So people that are getting remarried, there's a 70% chance of getting divorced.
divorce is a valid option in many situations, it's not always the solution. It takes two to make things work, and many people believe this woman reaped what she sowed.
Yeah, that pink lady is coping a little bit. Yeah, they get remarried, right? And I don't think that's again, those stats can be manipulated a little bit, but I don't think a lot of people that get divorced, the divorce say they usually get remarried, but their second marriages, the divorce rate goes to 70%, very high.
Due to a man.
Curious why y'all are saying no to marriage.
You seem like a lovely young lady, so I'm going to try and explain it to you. Men stand everything to lose in a divorce. All it takes is a few false allegations or anything like that.
Yep.
And the family court system is sealed for a reason. It is a court of equity. It is not a court of justice, and I wish more men knew that. A court of equity means there's no one there to hold the judge accountable for the things he says and or does in the family court. It's a total racket. I've been to judicial systems in third world countries, and I thought, wow, this is horrible. And then I went to the family court and my circuit court, and I saw exactly the same trash. There's another aspect to it beyond a complete lack of judicial accountability, and that is the expectation in many states for the ex-spouse to be maintained for life. Now, 90+% of the time, that's going to be the man paying the woman. That is a lifelong bill. Can you imagine if you were to sell your car, decide you don't want your car anymore, so you sell it, and then someone in a position of authority within the government telling you, well, you made an original commitment to purchase that car, you're going to pay the maintenance on it until the day you die.
Damn.
Can you imagine that?
That's crazy.
That's why men aren't getting married. Here's the other thing. All of my generation that went through that, I call it house fire, because I freaking lost everything just to get the hell out of there because it was toxic and bad. All of my generation is informing this younger generation, probably the folks about your age, about the dangers of divorce, and we're sharing our trauma stories. Type divorce in the search bar of TikTok, you'll see all the women celebrating. They got all this stuff because they stripped that man of everything he had. They bled him dry. You look at all the men who post divorce videos, and it's
very sad.
Crap, I just lost everything. So that's why men don't want to get married anymore. Let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, that's very sad, man. And this is something that if every man has to do their homework. You need to do the homework. This is what happened when you play with the state. The state is always fast to ask you for money that you owe them. But if it is money that the state owes you, they take forever. Just ask the people at the IRS. There's people, even me, I haven't got paid for the IRS yet. Man, I filed in February, guys. And I call multiple times that they're taking forever. Like, they're just taking forever. But when it comes down to owe them, bro, you better pay quick, because they'll pull you literally in prison. It's crazy, man. Crazy. If you owe taxes, man, they'll pull you straight to prison. Man, let me just be quiet.
Through all of my text messages. So he now knows that I am planning on moving out as soon as I can secure a place. So for the last 2 days, he has spent almost all of his time meeting up with mutual friends in an attempt to secure their alliance in this situation. And that is so very frustrating. He literally took today off of work to like scurry around town meeting up with people. I have realized, however, that if these mutual friends either don't care about or don't see all of the manipulation, lies, and control that have been going on for years, I guess I don't want to be friends with them anyway.
In short, I wanted to ruin my husband,
Yep.
see him suffer, surprise him with a divorce.
Yeah,
while
so exactly. So basically, she already met with the lawyer. She already had the plan B, plan C, plan D, right? And she wanted to just basically present the divorce letter to her husband. And the husband would probably be like, man, what happened here? I didn't expect this. And that way, he was probably in a very defensive situation. Man, I don't know how you have to be this evil to plan a divorce in his back. And not only doing that, right? But just you want him to see him suffer, because the thing is, when they broke the husband's or ex-husband's spirit, they can tell to themselves, see, I knew it. I knew he was weak. And thank God I divorced him, because I knew he was weak. It's a demonic, if you ask me, it's a very demonic way of just ruining people's life, you know?
Not normal. The ex-wife never left in my former marriage. When I was married to my ex-husband, I noticed that whenever we went to birthday parties, his ex-wife was still around, and she would go, and I thought, okay, well, maybe, she got invited, so she came. The problem started when Thanksgiving came, and every Thanksgiving, it just reminds me of, it's kind of like a trigger for me. It's water under the bridge now, but I want your opinion on whether this is normal or not. Are you an ex-wife that has remained as part of your ex-husband's family? So on Thanksgiving, she was around. She was in the same table. Christmas dinner, she was in the table.
Damn.
Christmas opening gifts, she was there. Every weddings, you name it, she was around.
The other problem I had was that at the time I had given birth to my first daughter, and I put on a lot of weight, and she would make comments about how much weight I had put on.
Mm-hmm.
I voiced my opinion about this to my ex-husband, and the entire family, including him, went against me on this one. They said, she's part of the family. She's not just the ex-wife. You have to accept this. It is what it is. And the entire family went against me on my disagreement that she would be present in all family functions. And finally, what this did was that it shut me out. I didn't have a chance to bond with my ex-husband family because it was either Team X or Team Current Wife, and I was at a loss. There was no bending any of those rules for this entire Mexican family.
Damn.
This is what I call a woman with no boundaries. If you break up with someone, you need to give space.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is the husband's fault, man. The ex-husband's fault. The fact that the ex-husband still allowed his ex-wife to be around, that's a nail for him. That's a nail for him. It's these boomers, man. I just saw you. Oh my God, look, these boomers, bro. They're very particular when they do. They that sounds so boomer. They always do stuff like this. It was my ex-wife, but she will come here for the family. Like, they don't have boundaries, and this is why the generations, the millennials and Generation Z, they have problem with understanding boundaries, because they see stuff like this. Ex-wife just being in the presence of the family. No, she's the ex-wife. That's it. Go find something else to do. Man, always have boundaries, guy. Always have frame. This is very important. In the meantime, guys, let me know what you guys think. I'll see you next one.